Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be part 2 of my 3-part series where I am going through eyeshadow sticks. So these aren't like the liquid lipstick, I know it's not liquid lipsticks, but not like the liquid kind of eyeshadows, but more of sticks kind of like this. And there's a variety of different reasons why I started this video, but if you have not, if this is the first video, definitely be sure that you check out my second or this is the first video that you're watching. Make sure that you check out my first video that I did of this series, and it's going through the high end. Today's video is going to be the drugstore kind of lower end brands and stuff like that. So wanted to go ahead and get into it. So if you watched my first video of the high end shadow sticks, this one is going to be very much the same. The couple things that I wanted to point out are, first off, the reason why I decided to start doing these videos was because I was doing eyelash extensions, and I went ahead and bought all this stuff, and then I decided that I didn't want to do eyelash extensions anymore because they're super expensive and I was getting tired of it. But I still love the ease of these eyeshadow sticks because they're super easy, and I wanted to go ahead and do this video just to show you guys some of the eyeshadow sticks that I've tried. Now, I probably didn't capture every single eyeshadow stick that there is available. I tried to go through like Ulta's website and even went to like my local Walmart to see if there was anything that maybe Ulta didn't sell. So I've captured a variety of them, but please note that there's probably some brand that I didn't capture or some product that I didn't capture in this video. So just know that. So I'll kind of go through the video, tell you how it wore, give you a recommendation, and obviously I'll let you know whether or not I will be keeping it or if I recommend it. So I think that's it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the first one, or not the first one, the least liked one was the Covergirl Cream Shadow Stick. So this is True Naked Queenship, I guess is what it's called. This is in the color Leading Lady. It's actually a really pretty kind of gray color. And when I put it on my hand, it swatches really, really well. Like you could see it's super pigmented. It seems super creamy. But the one thing that I found with this that worked really hard, or that made it very difficult to work with, is it dries very, very quickly. So what I was finding is when I was blending it, it was drying so quickly that it was challenging to blend out and make it look presentable, make it look like I, was trying to blend it out and kind of do that ombre effect. I tried it with my finger and my brush, and I will tell you through these different products, one thing that I'm kind of rating it on is the ability to blend out with either one. If it blends out with a brush, just fine, that's great. If it blends out with a finger, that's great. It doesn't have to blend out with both of them to be effective. You can use your finger just as well as a brush or whatever, but this one didn't work with either one of them. Some of them I'm finding that it takes, or when you use your finger, it almost warms up the product and makes blending easier. This was not the case with this one. It did not warm up at all. It just dried really, really quickly. And because it made it so challenging, there was a lot of patchy stuff. Like there's patches that were kind of missing. It was kind of splotchy. So I was having to go in and like, kind of fill in the splotchiness, and it really, really wasn't working. It was kind of chunking up. I was finally able to kind of get it to work with the shadow brush and kind of make it so it wasn't super patchy. It was comfortable. Because it dries, you don't have that sticky or tacky feeling, and that's one of the things that I hate when I'm wearing these, especially these cream kind of shadow products or whatever. Sometimes they never really dry down, and that increases the creasiness, but it also makes it uncomfortable. This was comfortable. It didn't crease because I think it was so dry. It was easy to get off with face wash and stuff like that, but it was difficult to work with. So it was just one of those things, like I'm used to, especially considering at this point I've tried like a gazillion of them. To me, it was the worst one just because I had to really, really make it work to make it look even, made it look not patchy and stuff like that. So that is why I put it at the lowest end. As far as would I recommend it, absolutely not. So the next one is the NYX, I don't know if it's the NYX or NYX, whatever, Jumbo Eye Pencil. This is in 617 Iced Mocha. So it's a really, really pretty color. It was super easy to blend. Again, use my finger and the brush, didn't have any issues with either one of them. I love the pointed tip. I was able to get in really quickly to my lash line. And it's not a super, super pointed tip, so I still was able to like quickly do my whole eyelid, so it wasn't like I was sitting there drawing for forever. But it is really just this really pretty kind of bronzy antique color, so loved that. It did have a little tacky feeling, but it wasn't horrible. But the problem I had with it was it did crease throughout the day, and because of this, it faded kind of like the Ulta Beauty one. But I absolutely love this color. Like to be honest, even though it creased and stuff like that, I am just absolutely in love with this color. I don't think that there was anything else, even in the high like drugstore ones, that was just this shiny and this shimmery or whatever. Did crease, it did fade throughout the day. It didn't stay this pretty color or whatever. To be honest, I'm a little bit on the fence with this one. As far as recommending it, there are other ones that I would recommend over this. So if you are like looking to venture out into the eyeshadow stick world, this isn't on the top of my list because it does crease throughout the day. But if you already are somebody who has a lot in your collection, or you're just looking to do a fun color or whatever, or just, it's not really a fun color, but it's just a really pretty color, I think this is really pretty. And the good thing about the drugstores are they're cheap enough to where, you know, I don't feel like I'm wasting my money. Okay. So the next one is and I know I'm gonna say this, Kiko Milano Long Lasting Shadow Stick. It says it has 8 hours of no transfer wear. This, I got it in the color 06. There's really no color on it. So what I had about this, it is super pigmented. I mean, it goes on, it blends out really, really well. Even though it doesn't have a super sharp tip or whatever, it was easy to get into my lash line. It was kind of like that perfect to be able to do on my eyelid and stuff like that. I love the mechanical pencil, that I'm loving that. So what happened was, because it was, I'm looking at my notes right here, but because it's so super pigmented, I ended up going in and like going like that, like I normally would. And then I found like I had to like take my brush and then kind of wipe off the excess, and then take my brush and wipe off the excess, because it was hard to blend because I ended up putting too much product. So a little bit does go a long way, but it wasn't really a negative because, hey, you know, it's just less is more. But I just went into it like I normally would and was like, okay, wait a minute. This got out of hand really, really quickly. It did blend out really, really well. Like I said, I use mostly the brush or whatever, but usually what I'll do is I'll kind of buff out with the brush, and then I'll go in towards my eyelash line and kind of tap it in or whatever, and that kind of helps with the tackiness. So it did have kind of a tight feeling or whatever, and it did kind of grow tacky, but eventually throughout the day it wasn't super uncomfortable. I did kind of feel it here and there on my eyelids, but it wasn't anything that was super uncomfortable. The one thing that I do have to say is, because there is that slight tackiness, I did notice like a slight crease kind of starting, but it wasn't bad. Okay, so the next one is going to be the Julep Eyeshadow 101 Cream to Powder Eyeshadow Stick. So this is in the color, don't know, Champagne Shimmer. So one thing that I do like the tip. It's very similar to the Kiko one or whatever. It's easy to get in the lash line, all that stuff, and the mechanical pencil, gotta love it. The color, I'll have to say, I mean, it's pretty, but for my skin tone, it was pretty much my skin. I mean, it was like, oh, glowing or whatever, but it was kind of like maybe your eyelids, but better on me. Obviously, if somebody had darker skin tone, then it's going to pick up a little bit more. That color is going to come out a little bit more, but for me, it's pretty much my skin tone. It was very, very easy to blend. I felt like it was quick to go 1, 2, blend out, so I love that. It does have a blender on the other side, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't use it. I just used kind of my finger to blend it out, and it seemed to work well. So it was very comfortable. It did have a slight tackiness, but I didn't notice it throughout the day, but it had longevity. It didn't crease or anything like that. The biggest thing negative for me personally was that it was very, very close to my skin color. and I wish that I would have gotten something a little bit darker so that you could actually see the product on my eyelid. That obviously is not a negative for the product because it is what it is. So if you are somebody fair skinned like me, I would hesitate from this color, but I definitely am going to be looking into other colors because I did really like the formula. So as far as recommendations, I think yes, this is one of the good ones. It wasn't my favorite, but it's definitely something if you like, you know, the Julep line or whatever, I think they definitely have a winner here. So the next product is the Ulta Beauty Cream Eyeshadow and Liner. So I actually picked this up in 2 colors. I only ended up trying one. This is mauve on over, so it's a really pretty mauve color. I mean, it has a little bit of mauve in it, but it's not, it doesn't scream mauve. So this was super easy to blend, but it kind of fades as you blend it out. So I would have to kind of pack on the color. It's not a horrible thing, a horrible deal, but that was one thing. It did take a little bit longer to get the color pigment or get the color saturation, I can't say that word, to get the color where I want it to be, but it wasn't horrible. Again, love this tip. I think that's pretty, I mean, it's a pretty standard, no, it's not standard actually. Some of the other products, especially high-end, I don't know what the heck they were thinking, but that's not this video. But really like the tip, I thought it was good. It did have a tight feeling when it was applied. And it creased almost immediately, but when I went ahead and just kind of wiped it away, and then it didn't crease after that. So the one recommendation that I would give for this one is when you're done with the color, just kind of tap it in to your eyelid to kind of get that extra tackiness off, and then I think it will work. But it was weird, like it literally creased as soon as I did it. I blended it out, kind of tapped it in, and then it was fine the rest of the day. It wore, like I said, it wore well throughout the rest of the day. It was easy to take off. So this definitely is in my top 3. I thought it was really, really good. And like I said, I got another one. I can't even remember the other one that I got, but I got another one, and I definitely will be keeping these because I thought the formula was pretty good, and it is a pretty color. So the next ones that I tried out were the Maybelline Color Strike Cream to Powder Eyeshadow. So as you can see, I have a lot of these. And the reason for that is I actually purchased these prior to ever doing this video because I ended up starting out with one, and I can't remember what color I started out with. And I really, really like them. So I went ahead and purchased all the rest of them. I think there's like a super, like kind of a ruby one and then a blue one. I did not purchase those because those are not colors that I normally would wear. But these are pretty neutral kind of colors. You got like a champagne-y one, kind of a taupey color, like a dusty rose, a bronzy color, and then just kind of a dusty, like a desert sand one. I don't know. I couldn't come up with names for things. A dusty rose and a desert sand. But so you've got like they're neutrals or whatever, but you know, they're different. So the one thing, I'll show you this real quick. So it has this little puff ball kind of thing. And this is probably not a good color because you can see there. It is definitely powder. So it's not a creamy product at all. It's definitely powder. But the one thing that I liked about it, especially when I had eyelash extensions, was the powder from like the eyeshadow would fall into my lashes, and I have to like comb it out, and I ended up like ripping some of them out. Even though I wasn't being, you know, I was being gentle or whatever, I was just trying to get the powder off. These don't have any fallout. So I was able to get really close to the lash line, and it didn't have any fallout, and I was able to, you know, accomplish the same thing as I did with the other eyelash sticks. They stay on, they don't crease, they're super comfortable to wear because the other ones, you know, they have a slight tackiness because they are cream products. So some of them are a little bit more uncomfortable than others because maybe they have that tight, they kind of dry to a tightness. These do not. These feel exactly like eyeshadows. It's just in this little form. But these are awesome. I definitely recommend these. I did put them in the top 2 because there was one that I fell in love with more than these, but these are just good kind of staple ones. But they're just great for travel. You don't have to worry about breaking anything, and they do layer well on each other, and they stay all day, which is lovely. Okay, so last but not least, the #1 eyeshadow stick from the drugstore that I would recommend is this bad boy right here. This is the Revlon Color Stay Glaze Stick. This is in the color 872 Gilt. This is the Wonder Woman collection or whatever that they're doing. Now, the reason why I recommended this because the color is amazing. Not just because of the color, but it's just this gorgeous gold color. The one downside I do have to say, and it is what it is. Oh, it's not gonna do it now. Okay, maybe I fit. Oh, there we go. See, the thing comes out, and I don't know if they accidentally gave me two, but I was like, wait a minute, did I order two? And I look back on my order and I didn't, but this one comes out as well. So it's a defect. Not sure if it's just this color or whatever, because they do have two colors, but it does come out. So just be very, very careful. But I know that's a big whatever, but I think the color is awesome. It blended out really, really well. There is a fine little pieces of glitter in it that kind of sparkle or whatever, but it just gives us this really pretty sheen. It was super comfortable. There's a slight tackiness, you know, on the eyelid, but it's nothing that's bad or anything like that. It looks absolutely gorgeous on the eyelid. There was no creasing. It wore well throughout the day. It was easy to take off. So that's why I made this the #1, because I honestly and truly, like everything else, even these color strike ones that I have, like I like wearing them and they're great every day or whatever. And I've had them and I've worn them and they're buildable and all that stuff. That's probably like a staple, like that's the donkey of this, you know, that's the workhorse of everything else. Like if you're looking for really just an everyday, definitely do the Maybelline Color Strike. But if you're looking for something that's going to be like, oh, like I really want to wear this, this is the color and this is the formula, because it really is very, very comfortable. It doesn't crease, all that stuff. So it has everything except it has a little defect, you know? Sometimes even the racehorses have little coops and stuff like that, but just don't tip it over. See, I got you. I had a lot of fun. I absolutely love trying these out, and you know, I had all my notes, like every day I would write them down and everything. So hopefully you guys learned something from this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If there's any products that you've tried, either in this video or you know, that I reviewed in the video or didn't, please leave them below. I definitely would love to try them out. If there's other colors that you would recommend, that sort of thing. But until next time, bye.